So my first question to you from the audience, how it has been for last one and especially last 1.5 years, how it has been for you when it comes to managing supply chain. Over to you, Sathi.
Yes, thank you, Shiva, for that introduction, and thank you. Good evening to everybody, and it's actually a great pleasure sharing this virtual stage with Ejazur. He's a great friend of mine and amazing gentleman, and also I would say he's the supply chain guru. So I have a lot of discussion with him on supply chain and his thinking and out of the box ideas. Amazing. So there's a treat today with him as well. And so let me put my presentation slide. Hope all of you can see this.
Yes, Sathi, can see. You can put it on the presentation mode. Yes, brilliant.
Okay. Right. So just to answer Shua's question. So Shua's question is last 2 years, how have been the challenges in supply chain and how things were managed. So I have put up this one slide. So last 2 years has been really challenging with the COVID situation. I mean, we know what is VUCA. Before pandemic, I would say VUCA is just a theory. For me, it's just a theory. But post-pandemic, we really experienced the VUCA world. Volatility, uncertainty, complexity, ambiguity. It's quite challenging, right? And the biggest challenge, of course, during the pandemic is moving the material. I mean, supply chain is the responsible for moving the material from the supplier to the consumer, and also the information flow, managing the information flow. And this had quite a lot of challenges in last 2 years. So any supply chain that was able to move the material and make sure availability to the consumer really gave a competitive advantage to the business. So supply chain in last 2 years for businesses, supply chain has become very, very important function. And in fact, supply chain was able to bring the competitive advantage to most of the businesses. Now, looking at the challenges last 2 years, there are quite a lot of logistic challenges, shipping delays, port congestions, transport challenges. In our market, there has been once in a way import bans. So we would like to hear from Ejazur how Bangladesh managed the whole thing. But in Sri Lanka, we had import bans, and being a country where most of the materials are imported, this is quite a challenging situation for supply chain. COVID impact on operation because of the COVID, we have to slow down the operations, supplier disruptions, both locally and globally, and also mobility and forecasting. So this I would like to little bit explain. So whenever there is a lockdown, people start moving less outside, and they mostly stay at home, and their consumption pattern changes. Now, say for example, I can give you an example. Say for example, if you are selling tea for out of home, for restaurants and tea shops, you might be having big bags, 1 kg, 2 kg economical pack. And for home consumption, it's normally smaller packs with premium pricing. So whenever there is a lockdown, the entire demand pattern changes. The bigger packs demand comes down, and the smaller packs demand goes up. And then when the lockdown is released, it happens other way around. So there is quite a lot of challenges in terms of demand planning as well. And all of us know the importance of demand planning. Demand plan drive the entire supply chain process. So in this crisis situation last 2 years, companies that was able to turn around, convert this crisis into opportunity really won. And I would share from my experience 3 key enablers that really helped us to do really well. The first one, empowered team. I would say this is one of the key enabler for success. I mean, each and every member, if he can act as a leader in his area, understand end-to-end supply chain, what's happening, and then take decision, it can make a big difference, because the situation is changing every day, every other week. And a person handling a procurement or a logistics, if that person can really understand the end-to-end supply chain and very clearly take decision, it can make a big difference. And in my case, we were really focusing on our team coaching. Coaching culture is really supportive in terms of empowering the team. And rather than giving directions, it's more on helping the team member to understand, see things as it is, what is happening, helping them to understand the situation, and also helping them to understand what can be done better, and also making motivating them to take action to make things better. In terms of the second enabler, traditionally supply chain always focusing on accuracy, the demand plan accuracy, shipping accuracy, information accuracy. But last 2 years, the accuracy went for a 6. And if we keep on focusing on the accuracy, we will definitely start complaining and giving excuses and so on. So the mindset change from accuracy to agility, focusing on quick changes, challenging the norms, coming out with different ideas. This is one of the key enabler to convert crisis into opportunity, especially in the last 2 years. And the third one, collaboration across value chain by creating the context. For me, collaboration across value chain is one of the key things, and supply chain can create this collaboration across value chain. Supply chain depend on many stakeholders to get things done, and collaboration is the key. And when I say creating the context, when situation keep on changing, you need to create the context across value chain so that the members of value chain can really support you. They will understand why they need to support you. And a control tower approach with digitalization, with end-to-end visibility really helped in terms of overcoming these challenges. So I would now talk about little bit about my career, my story. So 20 years in Nestlé, as Shubha said, and I started as a demand planner. Then I went to supply planner role. Then I was in finance for a couple of years. I was part of SAP implementation. Then I was in logistics, procurement, and customer service. So almost all the functions I have moved around. And if you really look at these key enablers, one of the key things is you need to have the end-to-end understanding of supply chain. From the supplier to consumer, you need to have a good understanding for you to really come out of this crisis and make crisis an opportunity. And really, this experience helped me a lot. So now I would like to introduce Ejazur into the stage. And Ejazur, I want to ask you one question. Now we are talking about CSCM, a news curriculum that has been published. Now with this challenging external environment, end-to-end supply chain understanding and leadership is very important. So I would like to understand how the new curriculum is going to help people to really get these skills up. Over to Ejazur.
Thank you very much, Sathi. Thank you, Shubha, and good evening, everyone. As Shubha said, it's a matter of pride whenever I have an opportunity to address Sri Lankan audience. I honestly, hand in heart, I consider Sri Lanka as my second home. I wish I had an opportunity to make it my home. If God willing, someday it may even happen. So those of you who joined, congratulations in advance that you are here for a good cause. And on behalf of ISCEA and the global team of ISCEA, I encourage each one of you to stay till the end. We have some good news to share as well because you have joined today. So Sathi, relating to your question, Shubha, if I can also share the slide that will help everyone to visualize the new curriculum as well. Is the screen visible?
Yes, can see. Yes.
So, Sathi, in fact, the world is no exception compared to what you have shared as far as Sri Lanka is concerned. So, just to ensure that people don't just take things from, my words, what I have related here is from a very latest HBR analysis, right? Which suggests a few things, and I'll talk about what they are looking at and how they are making a very simple but very effective suggestion on reinventing the supply chain, really. Looking at, as you very correctly said, we are moving away from the traditional perspective of looking at supply chain performance. So they made a few observations as well, that consumers will continue to want low prices. That will continue to happen irrespective of, who is where, which company, which country is making what. So in a recession, things like that will continue to happen. Consumer expectation will be to buy more at a lower price because the income has been challenged in pretty much every country. Secondly, farms won't be able to charge more just because they manufacture at a high cost home market. So the challenge for supply chain managers would be to look for solution from anywhere in the world. So developing more of a global mindset today is not an option, it's an imperative. So Sathi, you also being a CSCM, you would appreciate the kind of exposure we get in this type of programs is actually for many of us, who learned by doing. We did not have supply chain education in our time when we started. You started your career, I started my career. Yeah. So, and of course, you are fortunate. I have been fortunate as well, working in a multinational. We had great exposure to supply chain best practices from across the world. But for most local companies, that is not the case. So we have developed a global mindset anyway when we worked in MNCs. But this has now become a need of the day for everyone to develop more of a global perspective and look for solution anywhere in the world. So farms will not be able to charge more. Rather, they'll have to look for cost-effective solution for their customers. And the pressure, from the competition to operate more efficiently, use capital and manufacturing capacity more intelligently will be a continuous thing. It will never go away, right? Particularly for the reason that the world is going through a very unpredictable time. So to continue with, they have also made observation within this Harvard Business Review report. The challenge for companies, this one is important, dear audience, will be to make their supply chains more resilient, as Sathi has already mentioned in his presentation, without weakening their competitiveness. So those of you who wish to take a little note, we have to become more resilient, but we cannot become weak in our competitiveness. In other words, the agility that Sathi has mentioned, it's no longer just efficiency and maximizing revenue. It's rather having an agile environment in the supply chain today, which can quickly, do and undo. If it has to fail, it fails very fast. It has to try new things. It has to provide quick solutions. If it has to fail, it has to fail very, very quickly and adopt new things again. So it's a very interesting, fine balance, I would say, that the business organization will have to ensure today, that we have to become more resilient, but then we cannot reduce our competitiveness. We need to continue to remain competitive in the market with service, with cost, with variety and everything. So to meet these challenges, the managers, whoever is working in whatever part of supply chain, we'll talk about it in a minute. This conventional thinking of supply chain being a back office job is a history now. Supply chain is very much a strategic function. Supply chain makes, or becomes part of all the strategic decisions in the business. I'm sure, Sathi, at Nestlé, not a single new product is introduced without your opinion about it, right? Your vetting about it. So
yes,
that's where supply chain has reached today. So we will talk about it. I understand spending 4 years in Sri Lanka that, the case was no different in Bangladesh as well, that the focus more was in logistics, and Sri Lanka being a very important logistics hub in the region. But when you talk about supply chain, starting from after receiving the order and all through processing of the order, delivering of the order, storing of it, everything is supply chain. So today all the managers, their first job is to understand how much vulnerability we have, because we are not playing in the same ground. The playing field has completely changed. So we need to first understand what kind of vulnerabilities my business has, and therefore what kind of steps will be appropriate for us. So I have tried to keep a very simple way or simple few 3-step solution for everyone to remember easily. The first one, in this current situation, that's what the whole world is doing, to have a fresh look at the supply networks. The old network that we had may not at all work because we primarily focused on efficiency in the past. Now we are not just looking at efficiency, we are looking at supply chain partners who can help us, who can be prompt in their deliveries, who can be innovative, who can turn out new things very quickly. So we need to have a real fresh look in the entire network of supply if we really have to manage our supply chain today. Second one is we have to uncover and address the hidden risks in terms of vulnerabilities that we have in the business. Are we depending too much on somebody, right? Are we making a commitment which is not a sustainable commitment going forward? We need to identify those vulnerabilities. And we definitely have to diversify our supply base, because earlier the way China became a manufacturing basket for the whole world because everyone was focusing on efficiency. Thirdly, Sathi, you and I have spent over 20 years in the industry, 25 years, and the focus was always optimizing inventory. More so was about reducing inventory. That's the kind of mindset that everyone had. Today, because the situation is so unpredictable, the new concepts of supply chain are actually encouraging to hold intermediate stock, safety stock more, because those of you who are listening to a supply chain talk for the first time, supply chain designs are such that wherever you have more uncertainty, that is where you have more preparation. Wherever you have certainty, you can tighten your belt and have less preparation. So because all the environment today, the external environment is very uncertain, that requires additional preparation. So holding inventory or safety stock is one such solution. Even Harvard is suggesting based on the last 17, 18 months disaster. So we need to first have a fresh look at the supply network. Secondly, uncover and address the hidden risks that we have. And third one is pretty simple steps, as you said, have a fresh look at the supply network, uncover and address the hidden risk. And third one is take actions to improve robustness of the business. We need to take advantage of process innovations. Those of you who are working in Sri Lanka for FMCG organizations, you realize that many of the companies are making products that they never had in their agenda. They're making, some are making even hand sanitizers, probably a food manufacturing company. Yeah. So they all will take the advantage of, process innovations. They will have to renovate process in a way so that it is more agile, it's more flexible, because lean processes, you would agree, are not very flexible. You cannot change a lean process very quickly, but today we have to have agile process which can accommodate changes very rapidly. The last but not least is supply chain will embrace technology big time. It has started embracing that, but going forward, I just, with a humble reminder to everyone who are listening, everything that is predictable in the world, in a corporate world, and everything that is routine-based or rule-based will be taken over by machines. So anything that is rule-based, anything that is repetitive in nature will be done by the machines, and human will be engaged for the thinking part, right? We have to improve our thinking capabilities, as Shubha was mentioning. So how does that relate to the kind of revision that ISCEA has made with the new CSCM curriculum? Let me begin with something that I'm really excited to talk about. In this CSCM program, about 80% score historically since CSCM was introduced was on supply chain body of knowledge. And this was primarily from one main text in the US, right? Whereas when I looked at the new curriculum, Sathi was equally excited when we shared this new curriculum has consulted 124 textbooks, which are all latest and contemporary on supply chain. So you can imagine if a program has taken into account 124 latest books on supply chain management, then you can't think anything that is outside the purview of this new CSCM. It has been completely redone, I would say, relaid. There are beautiful 6 modules, which sets the perspective even better for you to understand what goes on in a supply chain curriculum today. So the kind of re-looking at, the supply network, discovering the vulnerabilities, taking actions, and also taking advantage of, innovation and technology today, you will notice that the 26 chapters that has been added in the new supply chain program globally called CSCM, you will be actually seeing the benefit yourselves. So the first module is called Supply Chain Strategy, which has 4 sections: Supply Chain Management Essentials, Strategic Planning, Supply Chain Risk Management, Business Process and Metrics. The second module is on logistics only, which a word that in Sri Lanka we know more. Logistics from a transportation perspective, logistics from a distribution perspective, and logistics from an inventory management perspective. All these are covered in this new CSCM. Also covering the bullwhip effect, this sort of coordination, what kind of effect it has in supply chain, that is also covered. Module 3 is about tactical planning. This also incorporates the very latest the tactical operational procedures that we have in all the best organizations in the world. First one, of course, SNOP, which is Sales and Operations Planning. And some of you may already know that we are migrating to Integrated Business Planning now, IBP. That's also covered here in the new curriculum of CSCM. And this product and service management is completely new, which helps us develop a deeper insight on how do we manage supply chain from a product point of view, from a service point of view. And the 2 very critical areas in supply chain, which is demand management and supply management, these are big chunk of activities in supply chain, have now been covered in great details in the new curriculum. And then comes consensus, prioritization, and strategic planning integration for the overall organization. Module 4, interestingly, covers relationship management, which was not there even in the previous CSCM program. So this covers pretty much all aspects of supply chain relationship, customer relationship management, supplier relationship management, and a few very interesting supply chain collaboration tools. Because those of you who are into supply chain, you would notice and know already that today's supply chain talks about a collaborative supply chain. You don't just benefit from your supply chain, your core supply chain, from a self-contained business as it was in the past. Rather, you benefit from the supply networks, not just your own supply chain, the supply chain benefit of your suppliers, supply chain benefit of your customers. You can combine all of those to maximize the overall supply chain performance. So this part is about relationship management. Then comes supply chain optimization, which talks about information system and digital supply chain, Lean Six Sigma, theory of constraint, demand-driven supply chain framework, which is very, very contemporary. And of course, a quick introduction on demand-driven material requirement planning. Last module is about competency skills, which covers financial key performance indicators, leadership and change management, short version of project management, and finally, sustainability in the supply chain. So Sathi, if you look at these 6 modules on contemporary skills, supply chain optimization, relationship management, tactical planning, logistics, supply chain strategy, if we do not have good understanding about these critical aspects of optimizing supply chain performance, how would one know where is the gap? Because the first thing, as you would have noticed, is one is relooking at your supply network, and the other one is identifying the vulnerabilities. So if I don't know what good looks like, how would I know what gap I have? So for the first time, that's why CSCM is so popular across the world. It gives an individual a helicopter kind of a view of the overall business. He can see all parts of the supply chain and understand how the dots are connected, or rather how the dots should be better connected, for achieving better result. So I'm really happy that, ISCEA has done this amazing, they have taken about 3 years to upgrade this. It was only introduced to us towards the end of last year. And in the Asian region, we are only having the 3rd batch now. And many of the Sri Lankans are, of course, in our ongoing batch as well. And I think from the beginning of this new curriculum, we had Sri Lankan participants joining in the session that is run from here. And before then, of course, in the old curriculum, we had few other CSCMs. So this, for the first time, will expose the participants to understand how an overall supply chain works, what are the benchmarks in the industry for various aspects of supply chain operation and strategy, and then only they can identify the gaps and take actions. And while taking actions, they also have good hint in the program that how they should lay their entire supply chain. So I would go back to Shubho and Sathi at this stage. Really exciting improvement. And after living and breathing on supply chain initially for the job for about 14 and a half years, and then holding CEO, COO role, and then now teaching supply chain for the last 10 and a half years, I'm very excited with this new version of CSCM. It's much upgraded, much upgraded. Shubho, over to you and Sathi. Thank you, Sathi.
Great. Thank you very much. And we are excited to bring this updated or upgraded version of CSCM. Thank you, Sathi and Ejaz. Actually, this is just the beginning, as I told you. So Ejaz and Sathi just they touched upon what is going to be and how it is going to be, right? So before I go to the next segment, okay, Ejaz, there is a question. You want to take that question? Shall we go to the next after that? In the chat, it says, what's the percentage of weightage covered of 6 modules? What is the percentage of weightage?
Okay, we can share that. It's also in the website. We can share that.
Okay.
It's a long one, so I will not take much of your time. If you go to www.iscea.org and go to the certificates section, or Shubho, shall I show it here?
Yeah, sure. You can share.
I think that might help individuals.
Sure, yes.
Sure,
That's
yes.
Question.
Is the screen visible now?
Yes, visible.
So if we go to the ISCEA website, www.iscea.org, if you go to certifications, go to CSCM, this is where your CSCM details are. So if you scroll down with all the details, here you see the assessment criteria. Is this, can you see this, Shubho?
Yes, can see.
Supply chain essentials, 5%, strategic planning, 5%, risk management, 2%. So the assessment criteria is this. So it's actually on the website.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
Sharing that. So moving forward, Ejaz was mentioning that there are students who have already gone through this advanced version of CSCM. So we have somebody in the crowd, right, with us right now. I'd like to invite Supun. Supun, are you there?
Yes, Zoo.
Okay, great. So can Zoom Master, can you please identify Supun? Look for Supun and magically he will show up. Yes, Supun, where are you?
Hi, I hope everyone can hear me.
Yes, can hear you, but cannot see you, Supun. Where are you?
Okay. Hope you hear me.
Somebody please pin, not literally, but identify him and then put him on the screen, please. Awesome. Okay, you're looking good, right? Okay, great. So Supun, I would like to invite you, please share with the audience, right? Ladies and gentlemen, now he's going to share his experience of CSCM, how it has been the new version of CSCM. After that, you're still in for a treat. Please don't go away. There will be actually sharing from Sathi and Ejazur regarding few of the chapters just to show you, which will definitely enlighten you to the next level. So over to you, Supun. Why don't you introduce yourself, which company you represent, and how was your experience with CSCM?
Okay, well, actually, I'm Supun from EFL 3PL sector in Sri Lanka. Actually, I did this CSCM course, and actually it is a wonderful one because I want to say today the supply chain has become a very, very important thing because I am working under the warehouse sector. So the supply chain is one of the most important thing for everyone now. So because everyone is trying to manage less inventories with less risk, as Mr. explains, nowadays we have risk and in supply chains, and therefore we need to develop good coordination, cooperation, collaborations with all partners in the supply chain. That is what we do. So through this supply chain course, all our lecturer panel and everyone shares their personal experiences. Apart from these informations are up to date. That is the most important thing. The informations are not old data. Everything are up to date. Especially for an example, lean, a theory of constraint. All informations are up to date. You can apply it for nowadays your practical operations. So I have applied those theories, and I have always take these outputs. So that's apart from this, they share our lecturer panel share their personal experiences. That is also one of the most important thing for as supply chain managers. So I tell everyone that this is one of the wonderful list of subjects, list of modules to study. And actually, this is a great.
Thank you so much, Supun, for sharing. And,
Thank you.
Your sharing definitely would encourage
you as well, Supun.
From the audience to definitely focus on CSCM and take their life to the next level. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Look forward to seeing you in Sri Lanka, Supun. I'm still coming.
Yes,
definitely.
for sure.
Definitely, Mr. Jas.
I'm waiting.
Yes.
Thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, how many of you, so Juice Lee, right? He's asking about the percentage, weightage, and model, right? So how many of you are ready to see a sneak peek? Okay, this is like a preview. It has never been shown anywhere. Only the participant in this room will get to see what is it about, right? So how many of you are excited to know that? Maybe 5 to 10 minutes, Sathi and Ejazur will show few of the modules, what's inside actually. How many of you would like to see that? If you like to see, type in I on your chat box. Type in I on your chat box. Trust me, it's a huge opportunity. We have never revealed this in Sri Lanka. This is the first time we're doing it. Okay, great. Okay, Dylan said I. Who else? Or rest of you don't want? Okay. Okay, brilliant. Okay, great, Indika. Thank you. Great. So brilliant. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back our very own beloved Sathiyenthra. So, Sathi, over to you. Please enlighten us with few of the aspects, a few of the modules of CSCM, the upgraded version. Can I call it, can I call it CSCM version 2 or upgraded version?
No, it's not really version 2. It's like, I don't know, it's probably the 10th version.
10th version. Okay, so CSCM version
But this
11.
is CSCM version 2021. That way you can say.
CSCM version 2021.
Yeah.
So this is and we are so proud and happy that Successante and MindMapper, they got together and they are talking about it for the first time in Sri Lanka virtually. Over to you, Sathi.
Thanks, Shubho. And so just reflecting on what Ejazur said. So 1 year back, I did CSCM. And when Shubho had a vision to introduce CSCM to Sri Lanka, he was talking to me and he was saying, this is a fantastic program. So what I told him, and even Ejazur suggested, is why don't you, Sathi, first you follow and understand the value, because then you will be very comfortable telling your friends to do this. So I followed this CSCM just one and a half year back. So after 20 years experience in supply chain, after taking over the supply chain leadership role in Nestlé, I thought I will follow this. And it is really an amazing experience. In 2 months, I learned, at least 65% of the things I know by experience or I have picked up from other workshops, but at least 25-30%, 35% was completely new ideas. And also, whatever I know, the CSCM program really helped me to put things in the right place and in a very structured manner, so that my thinking became more structured, because otherwise you learn from the various workshops and from experience, and then all these things are in your back of the mind. But when you follow a 2-month course which covers everything end to end and put it in a very structured manner, you're thinking completely different become different, and your mindset, there will be a shift. So it is really amazing. And also, Ejazur, I was mentioning yesterday, I mean, the next generation or the current young generation, I don't think they will go through all the functions to become a supply chain leader. They want to fast track their career, and they would like to do maybe 1 or 2 function and then move up. And I think the CSCM is a fantastic certification program where they can get these, as in your wording, bird eye view, or from my wording, understanding of the end-to-end supply chain in 2 months, which is amazing. But of course, my only request to the participants is you have to have some sort of experience in supply chain. Don't, without any experience, if you do this, you will not understand the CSCM program. So you might have to have at least 1 or 2 function experience, and then you follow this. It will really a great value, and it will really accelerate your career. So that's my view. Ejazur, anything you want to add?
I think you're perfectly said it. We also encourage, Sathi, 1 to 3 years minimum experience, if anyone wants to join CSCM.
Absolutely. All right, so you can.
Just want to add one thing, Sathi, for the viewers.
Yes.
That it's over 600 slides program, and it's run, as Sathi rightly said, close to 2 months time. So what we are giving here is probably maybe a very small percentage of the whole program. So please keep that in mind. We can't give you the whole exposure in a 1-hour preview. Yeah, thank you. Over to Sathi.
No, but we can come and sign up for the program. We'll give them the full program. We can do that. No problem. And they can change their life with that.
I know what I said in the preview. We can't give the whole of it. So it's about close to 640 slides. And as Supun had mentioned a few minutes back, you don't come to CSCM program only to look at the slides. You meet a host of industry leaders. All of them are like 15, 20 years experience. They will come and talk through their life's experience in utilizing those concepts in supply chain. Thank you. Over to you, Sathi, please.
Thank you, Ejazur. So yesterday, Ejazur shared with me the entire curriculum and the details. And I picked up 3 areas, just some key concepts just to share today. And first, I will share some demand planning, some concepts, some ideas on demand planning, and why demand planning. Demand planning, in my view, is the captain of the ship. Supply chain ship. When demand planner says turn left, the entire supply chain have to move to left. And then when the demand planner says turn right, then everybody have to turn right. It's the demand planner who lead the supply chain. So, and in fact, I started my career in demand planning. So this is one of my favorite area. So this particular idea was very, very interesting for me. We always have our tools, statistical tools. We have our process where we discuss, judge numbers, and come with a forecast. And today, with the external uncertainty, always the forecast, there will be a range. You cannot come with one number. You might in the system put a forecast, like say for example, F1, but then in the same discussion, there will be some sort of views that there is a 90% confidence level, we might end up in F2 as well, or more sales, maybe 25-30% more sales. And this particular idea has been very nicely elaborated in this new syllabus. It's really interesting for me. And what I correlate here to my personal experience is this is really an opportunity to do scenario planning. When I say scenario planning, in today's world, with this external environment so much changing and your demand numbers are changing and very difficult to predict, one of the great tool to use to be agile is scenario planning. So when you put the forecast number F1, and then let's say you put a factory production plan S1, or you put a import. I mean, if the material is importation, then you put a plan to import basis F1. What you do is that if the team feels there's a 90% confidence that sales will be more and it will be F2, it will be good to put the F2 number into your S1 plan, that is your original plan, factory plan, and see how things looks like. Are you going out of stock? In case if the sales happen at F2 level, are you going out of stock? Or are you overstocking? In case if you are going below safety stock, can you build up the stock in the following month? Would you like to keep your stock at safety level, or would you like to build up a little bit more stocks so that either way, even if F1 scenario happens or F2 scenario happens, you are through? That's agility for me. And this is very nicely, this concept is put in the CSCM demand planning section. And I would also like to share, I mean, Ejazur, this is a bit of a new slide which I didn't discuss with you yesterday, but this particular picture, I got it down from the internet. And 20 years back, this is one of the theory or the idea I learned, which I would like to share. I mean, yesterday I somehow remembered this, and then I looked for this particular diagram in the internet, and I managed to find. And this is for me a very interesting graph. Now let's say if your lead times and all other parameters are fixed, right? So let me also put the laser pen here. Yeah. So this particular, there are zones, different color zone. So this is your 3 to 4 week stock cover. Oh, it says 2 to 3 week stock cover. And then this is your 1 to 2 week stock cover range. This is your 0 to 1 week stock cover. And this is your 4 to 5 stock cover, 5 to 6 stock cover. So in a particular demand plan accuracy, let's say 76%, if you maintain 2-3 weeks stock cover, your service level will be 92. So this is a bit of an algorithm. I mean, basis calculation, safety stock. This has been done, this particular graph. So in a particular situation, right? So maybe it is not applicable for any situation. A particular lead time situation, particular production cycle situation, this has been established. So the point here is, now if you want to improve your service level, so service level means, let's say if you say 92%, in simple terms, I'll tell you, if you get 100 cases order, you can service 92 cases. 8 cases you can't, right? You will go out of stock. So in a basic sense, let's not go too much deep. And demand plan accuracy, if you forecast 100 cases, you sell 76, or you might sell more as well, right? So the accuracy is only 76%. So if you have a 76% DPA, and you will end up with a service level of 92. Now, if you want to improve your stock cover, or if you want to improve your service level at the same level of forecast accuracy, you might have to increase your stock cover. You have to get into this zone, this darker blue zone. And then you can reach 96%. But then if you are increasing the stock cover, means you have to increase your warehouse space. You have to employ more working capital. Now, what about this? You improve your demand plan accuracy, and then you improve your service level by 2%. 2% service level improvement means at least 1% increase in sales. Quite a big, great value addition from supply chain. So this is the importance of demand plan accuracy, the forecast accuracy in a sense. So some companies don't really focus on forecast accuracy, and it's really a key KPI which we need to really improve. So CSCM will give you a good understanding of what are the different forecasting methods available. Quantitative, qualitative, and causal methods. Quantitative, based on your history, using statistical analysis. Qualitative, opinion, judgments from your experts, sales force, from customers, and so on. Causal, you link your forecast to certain costs, like say for example, a certain promotion can give how much lift, or sometime a competitive action can impact your forecast, right? So you connect to that. So these three forecasting methods will give you improved forecast. And if you are good in some other function, let's say you are currently in logistics, it's good for you to understand how demand planning works and how you can improve. And this is, and as I mentioned before, it is a real value adder if you can improve demand plan accuracy. Now, next, I will get into another second topic, consensus, strategic and planning integration. So in a simple way, don't get too complicated with this term. You have in your company a strategic plan. At the start of the year, you have a vision, you have strategy, you have objectives. And then on a monthly, weekly basis, your operational plan keep on changing. Now, at least 2-3 local companies came and asked me, we have a big challenge last 2 years because of the COVID. Our strategic plan is one and our operational plan is different. And we are having a big conflict. How do we manage this? Of course, there is a nice chapter. I mean, this is a new one in the new CSCM curriculum only. I see this very clearly. What are the checklists? How do you have consensus between your strategic plan and your operational plan? What type of meetings you have to keep? Who are the participants? It's clearly explained. You have to get the senior management commitment. Of course, senior managers should not be part of the decision making. They have to be there. That who will be driving this process, these meetings, right? And then the agenda. What type of agenda should be in the meeting to discuss these gaps, or in case it might be gap or surplus. The participants. What type of process you have to establish? At which level you have to discuss? Is it at a brand level, SKU level, or and then what is the horizon? You want to discuss 3 months, 12 months, 18 months, and what type of tools you want to use, and what type of performance evaluation you want to keep to evaluate. So this particular chapter very clearly explains how do you manage this strategic plan and operational plan gap, and how do you, who are the participants should be there to discuss, and how do you align these two plans so that you can have less friction and really a great focus on the business objectives. So this is, in my view, really a great value adder. I think some of the local companies which were asking me on this particular gap, I think if they can send some of their team members to this program, definitely they can pick up this understanding how to drive this through having 2-3 series of meetings with the right agenda, right people in the meeting, and discussing the right points and making sure your strategic plan align with your operational plan. Then this is a topic always in my heart, sustainability. And so it's there in new syllabus, even the old syllabus, it was there, but in the new syllabus, in my view, some fantastic concepts are there. So as you know, supply chain is all about material, information, and capital flows. So we basically manage the material flow from the supplier to the consumer, information flow from the other side, from the customer to the supplier, and the capital flows. Now, in sustainability, you are again collaborating across your value chain to create value in terms of economic value, in terms of social value, in terms of environment. And I say social, community, the local community, what you can do, the people inside your organization, how do you create value? Environment, planet, what can you do? Climate change, all these things. And then finally, the business also have to create value in terms of economic. So how do you balance all three? So this new concept, so this is called triple bottom line. This is included in the new syllabus, and love to see this. And also the circular economy. So materials goes through manufacturer, distributor, go to the consumer, and then you collect. And then you don't want to send it to waste. I mean, you don't want to dispose and make it a end up in landfill. So what do? You want to either use it back, reuse it, or you can repair, refurbish, or you can recycle, right? So there are options available. And so this concept is very discussed in detailed manner in the new syllabus. And then about the Sustainable Development Goals. So this is in 2015, UN came out with Sustainable Development Goals with 17 goals. And there are clear guidelines. How do we calculate? What are the KPIs for all these 17 areas? How do you calculate? And emphasize on collaboration across value chain to drive these 17 goals. And also there is a clear explanation what are these each areas. The 13-1 climate action is one of the interesting thing, and a lot of companies are working today on carbon neutralizing the carbon emission, and also the plastic recycling, and improving the resource utilization. In Nestlé also we are greatly focusing on these areas. So this is covered again in this sustainability. So Ejazur, I feel it's really just going through in one day. I would really say that quite a lot of new ideas, concepts, some latest whatever that is happening today has been added up into the new syllabus, and it's really great. And I'm thinking of following the course again, Ejazur.
Thank you very much, Sathi. As I was mentioning to everyone that in 6 modules, 26 chapters, there are about 170 odd topics. So Sathi and I are just touching 6 of them. Then again, very, very briefly, right? Is there a question from a...
There are
Someone
some questions.
has asked, okay, I'm excited to give these answers. Sakin Ahmed, he said, hello all, I'm a CSCM certified last year, December. Do I need to learn on new syllabus? How can I get access for that? Mr. Sakin, I shared this with Mr. Sathi yesterday. Even he was excited. Let me share this news with you. Those of you who did your CSCM under Asian region, this is my personal arrangement. I'm very happy that I could accommodate this. You'll be invited to join the latest version of CSCM classes for free. Yeah? So you can sit with the team, understand. So thank you very much, Sathi. So we'll be inviting you, Sakin. Please let us know if you're happy knowing that, Mr. Sakin Ahmed. We'll definitely let you know.
I think that deserves a round of applause.
Yeah, Sakin has mentioned that's a great to
Brilliant
me. Yes, inshallah, we will be letting you know. Mr. Danushka, you need to wait a little bit. You have some good news about the cost, so please keep waiting. So Sathi, that's wonderful. Thank you very much for the details. Right? Shubho, what to you?
Before going through the cost and detail, let's listen from Ejaz and let's get, because trust me, having these both gentlemen in one stage, this is a real opportunity to learn from them. So let's see what he has to share from CSCM, and then you'll have plenty of time for Q&A. Don't go. Plenty of time for Q&A. We'll clear all your questions. That's why we are here. Over to you, Ejaz.
Thank you. So before I go into sharing 2-3 topics, Shubho, what I thought will be useful for the audience to know is how the arrangements in Asia are different than what ISCEA is offering globally. This will also excite you.
Yes.
So this program is a program for supply chain professionals who are empowered to make senior level strategy decisions. At the same time, organizations who want to improve their competitive edge by providing executives a holistic supply chain perspective. This is also good for them. This is also good for individuals who are leading a supply chain transformation within their organization. and also for top-level managers, entrepreneurs, and business consultants. This is a program for all of them. The kind of things that we have in the course, it includes 40 classroom hours led by experienced supply chain management experts. This is what you have internationally. However, as you do in the Asian platform, we have that as well. However, we actually have 66 classroom hours led by industry experts. So this is over, 50, like 60% extra on top of what you have in ISCEA Global Program. And then you'll have study guide, which is also common. We'll also provide you with the study guide. We'll have 2 hours program review versus we have 6 hours program reviews. As you can see, ISCEA's global offer is about 42 hours total study time with ISCEA. And in the Asian region, we're offering 72 hours study time with the experts who take supply chain classes. And the exam, of course, 70% pass mark is the same exam that you have for the Asian participants. These are the prerequisites for the course. A minimum bachelor's would be required with 2 to 3 years experience. Generally, it's face-to-face, but we're actually enjoying the benefit of moving it online. So we want to stick to that. We will continue to be online. The global pricing for the CSCM program is 2,150. And if you want to have the magical numbers for tonight, you have to wait till the end. Please wait and watch. It's coming very, very soon. It will not be a very long journey. So have patience, but don't leave, because we're going to expose you to something that has never been announced before, as Shubho said. So please keep your patience a few more minutes. Okay, so quick glimpse from the CSCM version 2021. First thing I want to talk about is the logistics and supply chain thing. Sometimes we get confused because Sri Lanka talks much about logistics, not much about supply chain. I'm sure the audience would agree with me. So the quickest distinction to make is that supply chains are responsible for planning, sourcing, making, and delivery of goods to the end customer. Let me repeat. So supply chain is responsible to do all the direct and indirect thing that helps the organization to fulfill customer requests. So the total bundle is supply chain, whereas logistics specifically focuses on moving and storing goods between different supply chain organizations, right? So logistics is a part of supply chain, make no mistake, everyone. So the Council of Supply Chain Professionals, which is respected as the largest body of supply chain professionals across the world, this is not their definition. Part of the supply chain process that plans, implements, and controls the efficient, effective, forward and reverse flow and storage of goods, services, and related information between point of origin to the point of consumption in order to meet customers' requirements. That's logistics. So it is, as you can see at the beginning of the definition, logistics is the part of supply chain process that plans and implements and controls efficient and effective movement of materials forward and reverse. So logistics is quite significantly covered in this new version of CSCM. So I'm going to share a few things from the existing curriculum. These are all random. It's not that we have chosen the best things. As I said, we have over 170 topics covered in the CSCM new version in 26 chapters and 6 modules. This one is a glimpse from the chapter called Logistics, Transportation in Supply Chain, or Transport in Supply Chain. This picture is about fleet comparison, which demonstrates with regard to, in relation to demand and time, when the carrier providers, they use their own vehicles and when they use their hired vehicles. So let me give you a quick detail on this just in 2 lines. When the demand varies over the year, carriers usually cover base load of demand through an own fleet, while using hired vehicles to cover peak periods. So those who are carrier providers, people who provide the transportation, be it in ships or trucks and lorries or airline or anything, they would usually, to cover their base load demand, they'll be using their own fleet, whereas during peak periods, they'll be using hired vehicles to cover peak periods. So I'm sure for many of you, this will be a very interesting insight and you did not know this. And like this will help us to develop better understanding about how transportation system works in supply chain and how the fleet composition takes place, which will help us to make better decision about hiring fleets and also optimizing their usage. This one is also from logistics, but from another chapter called distribution network. This one is about inventory location based on volume and value. Very interestingly, this is pretty basic, but as Sathi was mentioning, I mentioned as well, most of us in the past learned supply chain by doing. We did not have a methodical way of looking at supply chain. So this particular program covers pretty much all aspects of supply chain. As I said, if you learn 170 topics, there's not much left, even though supply chain is very dynamic and it puts new challenges every day. So this particular scenario that you're looking at, where we run a comparison between volume and the value of, the particular items that we deal with in terms of inventory location. Items that are of high volume, but the value is less. Please look at this particular graph. Volume of distributed products. When the volume is high, but the value is less. For example, rice. Should we centralize that? Or should we localize that? I'm sure you would agree we should localize that and have multiple distribution centers. But an item with a low value and low volume distributed, we can have a regional storage. And items with high value but very low volume, we can actually have central distribution centers or global distribution centers. Air shipment could be a methodology to supply. And items with high value and high volume, we can also have regional storage for that rather than having a local delivery. So just in a very simplified version of a matrix, you can learn, at a macro level, at a high level, which item should be localized, which item should be distributed, right? Which item should be kept in a regional facility and so on. It also talks about the competencies of third-party logistics. Many of you are working as third-party logistics, or many of you are engaging third-party logistics. But what we do not know are the core competencies of 3PL. So we look at expertise, whether they have the expertise to arrange logistics on our behalf, whether their strategy fit with our organizational strategy, and also if they have the ability to invest. On the basis of this, we decide who should become our third-party logistics. So this is covered quite in detail in the program. This particular slide is from another chapter called Products and Services Management. And we learn it through a McKinsey competitive environment analysis model, which compares market attractiveness and business position strength. I'll just pick two examples here just to save time. On the right-hand side at the bottom, where you can see my cursor, where the market attractiveness is low and the business position or business strength is also weak in the market, we must divest, we must get out from that business. On the other hand, a product with a strong business position and high market attractiveness, we must invest further for growth. So this CSCM also gives you that opportunity to see your supply chain from a product and service perspective and make very vital and important decisions about how the supply chain should be configured for this particular product. As Mr. Sathi was mentioning in his discussion about the topics, like demand management moves everything. In fact, in any organization, the way organization designs its customer service policy, supply chain actually takes, supply chain starts from there based on what kind of customer service we want to offer to the market. And supply chain aligns all its resources accordingly. So this time, for the first time, no other previous version of CSCM had this product and service management. This has been included in the new curriculum. I'll probably finish with this one. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
This is on a postponement case. It's a fascinating strategy in terms of managing products and services in the supply chain organization. This example is from the world famous brand Zara. As you can see in the picture, postponement is actually a strategy which helps you to defer or postpone a particular process in a way so that it helps you, in one hand, to optimize your resources, two, to become more responsive in responding to the customer. So it's a pretty simple example, but mind-blowing. If you can see this one, the top portion says without postponement, which means a fabric is first, yarn is first dyed into multiple colors, then it is knitted into different colored t-shirts. That's option one, without postponement. But with postponement, at the bottom, as you can see, the yarn is knitted. This knitting portion has been brought forward, is knitted in a gray color, which means a raw color. And then you wait for the actual demand. Based on more predictability, more visibility on the demand, only then you dye the t-shirts as per the actual demand in the market. So imagine if you had the first scenario, you'll actually have a lot of redundancy in your business and also stock out situation for some of the product. Like for example, these blue ones, the demand is 3, you're only producing 3 now. Red ones, the demand is more than 5, you're producing more than 5. For green ones, demand is less than 5, you produce less than 5. So this is how various, modules are covered. It helps you develop a very deeper understanding of, as I said, 170 odd topics in supply chain. So Shubha, I want to go back to you at this stage. If you think I should stop here, I can come back to the final offer part at a later time.
Yeah. So thank you very much for that, Ejaz. So ladies and gentlemen, now it's your turn to ask question. If you have any question, please go ahead and ask, and these two gentlemen will definitely comply to that. Okay, there is one question in the chat. Okay, Sharif is again asking, how do we retain the certificate? How to access for PDU?
Okay, it's an interesting question. For all professional certificates, there is a method of renewing the certificate so that you remain contemporary. So every professional certificate will actually have an expiry date. Likewise, ISCEA also has the same for CSCM. It's generally valid for 3 years. And the reason it is valid for 3 years, because this certificate encourages you to have a continuing education. You continue to learn, you don't give up. As Subha was quoting Sathi's comment, that if you really want to grow in life, you got to continuously invest on yourself, which unfortunately most of us don't. So ISCEA also has created a process like that. Any kind of studies, seminars, training, certification program that you go through, most of it will be recognized by ISCEA. I'm just keeping it simple. So it is not just ISCEA programs that will give you professional development units or PDUs. Any kind of education certification that you do, you can actually claim points against that as PDU for CSCM program. And at the end of the 3rd year, you'll be only paying $75 to renew it. So as far as the fees are concerned, that's it. After 3 years, you just pay $75. So Shubha, we have the offer part. We can probably come back after the Q&A, is it? Or we should do it now?
Yes. Yeah. So any question, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any question, please go ahead and ask. And I have a question.
So just for everyone to know, we are yet to announce the pricing part. So please stay with us. Those of you who are attending today will get exposed to something very, very special. Yeah. Thank you, Shubha.
So I was a part of CSCM. So in December, me, Sathi, we did it. And Prashant, few of us, 6 of us, we got together and gone through it. So I can see there are so many parts have been added to this. Now, when somebody thinking of taking this subject, right? So they will invest money and time. I'll be very straight to the point. Do you think this is worthwhile?
I did not get it, Shubha. What is worthwhile?
So it is worthwhile to go through this trouble of doing CSCM, supply chain, this particular certification. Is it worthwhile? Because we come across this question many times when we talk to our clients or participants. They always ask. So since you are here, I thought I'll ask that question, and then listen from you directly.
Whether doing this certification at all is worthwhile or not, is it?
Worthwhile, yes.
Of course, as Sathi said, I said as well, when we started career, we had no supply chain education. But the whole concept of supply chain is just about 50-year-old. Not very old, it's about 50 years. And then within that 50 years, most of the innovations came in the last 30, 35 years, max. And in Asia, we actually started talking about supply chain post year 2000. So it's less than 20 years old. Sathi would agree. It was more logistics, customer service, and so many other names, right? Commercial, procurement, and all those were in different functions. So starting to talk about supply chain was only in the early 2000s, yeah? 2002, 2003, 2000, around that. It is 100% recommendable, not because I'm representing ISCEA, guys. Mr. Sathi is already the Vice President of Supply Chain at one of the world's top food processing company. When Courts funded my CSCM back in 2008, I was already a supply chain director at Courts. What else you want to know from two of us? If we could go for CSCM when we were already at the top of the supply chain role, and we still felt the necessity to go for CSCM, those of you who are starting the career, in the middle of the career, or who are already managing supply chain without knowing much of the conceptual side, you should not ask any question, just go for it. I give you one guarantee, guys. If any of you finish the CSCM program and can claim and prove it to me, with honesty, of course, it has not helped you to upgrade your thinking about supply chain, I'll personally refund your money from my pocket. What else guarantee you want? Because as Sathi said, I can say it with the name of God, with a swear. Before I did CSCM, I was one kind of supply chain head. After I did CSCM, I became another kind of supply chain head. Whereas Mr. Sathi very correctly said, CSCM has given us the exposure to connect the dots way better than how it was before. We used to do everything. We knew everything, but we did not know the methodical way of looking at supply chain.
Absolutely.
So please join the program. Yes, Shubho.
Great. Thank you. So Sathi, what's your take on it? In the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any question, please go ahead and ask on the chat box. This is an opportunity to learn from both of these eminent gentlemen. Please go ahead.
I think for those who are waiting for the offer as well, I think, Shubho, we need to do a justice to I can see some of the numbers have reduced. Sathi, over to you.
Yeah, so for me, I think I fully endorse what Ejazur said. In supply chain, you need to have bird eye view. You need to have end-to-end understanding. And this is an easy way. In 2 months, you build all the knowledge. And it really a career boost for anybody who is going to follow that. And that I am very much sure.
I can just add, Sathi, we hear it so many times in our markets, in Asia particularly, that, in a CV, there's a portion called career objectives. So people, after doing CSCM, they become smart. And in fact, we give them this suggestion as well. They start writing the career objective by these wordings. As a certified supply chain manager, I used to do this and that. So what happens is when they write that CV immediately stands out. And most of the people tell us, Sathi, that when they go for interview, half of the interview time is spent on asking what is CSCM, who has taught you, what did you learn, how is that going to impact in your career? So they remain very grateful that because I did CSCM, I was called for the interview, and most of the discussions were on CSCM. They were eager to know what is in it, who teaches you, who provides the certificate, and so on. And guys, Shubho, sorry, I forgot to mention, this is a global certificate applicable anywhere in the world. One fine message that I received yesterday through the ISCEA global press release. EDX has now become partner to ISCEA to provide CSCM worldwide.
Wow, that's a brilliant news.
Yeah, it was just came yesterday. Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. So shall we go on to the offer, because I don't see.
Yes, I think people are waiting.
Chat box. I think people are eager to know, so please go ahead. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, would you like to know the special offer for Sri Lanka? If you would like to know, type in I on your chat box. If you'd like to know, type in I on your chat box. Otherwise, Ejazur is not going to show the offer.
Unveil, yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Dilina. Thank you, Hillary. Great. Okay, only two of you, rest of you don't want. Okay, great. Thank you so much. So with that, Ejaz, over to you. Please wow us with the offer.
So before I just go to the pricing part, here is a message for you. It's important. Some of you asked that I spend so much money for this. What happens if I don't qualify and this and that? So the first attempt that you make, which is an on-site online exam, which will be conducted last day, but it's not normally last day. We give you 1 week's breathing time after you have spent 6 weeks with us in terms of studies. All the classes take place in the evening. And as soon as you are done with the exam, ISCEA will notify to you electronically from ISCEA Global Desk about your result. Successful candidates will be able to use this certification acronym behind your name as CSCM TM. Successful candidates will be awarded with an internationally recognized certification from ISCEA World Headquarters. The good news is in Asia, we receive soft copies, electronic copies, but we also receive hard copies. In other parts of the world, you have to pay separately for the hard copies. But for Asia, you don't have to, yeah? Okay, and for those professionals who are unsuccessful in passing the exam in the first attempt, ISCEA will offer a fast retake for free of charge within 30 days. If it goes beyond 30 days, you have to pay $250 for the next attempt exam. And likewise, it continues. If you don't pass in the second retake, you pay another $250 within another 30 days to go through the exam. Okay, so are you ready, everyone, to see what's on offer today? Sathiyenthra will ensure that those of you who are participating today and your known ones to whom you want to inform, all of them get this benefit. I'm going to expose something that our Bangladeshi colleagues or other parts in Asia are not aware of. This offer has not been made anywhere other than Sri Lanka. So this is the usual price that we know. Just so you know, our next batch is starting on 26th of September 2021, and the last date of registration is 20th. However, for the Sri Lankan candidates, we have made a special accommodation here. Sri Lankan 2020 fees is $1,750. That is how it was before this pandemic started. And for pandemic, we got a very special pricing, which is $1,350 per person. Please hear me out very carefully. Come January 1st, 2022, the price is going to go back to $1,750. I repeat, 1st January 2022, the price is going to go back to $1,750. But if you do it now, it's $1,350. Offer does not stop there. We have a super hot offer for this evening, 11 September 2021. It's only $1,200 if you participate in a group of 3. So it's not $1,350 per individual, it's $1,200 per individual as you come in as a group of 3. But of course, for individuals, $1,350 remains the valid price. And it's more important for you to notice that we will keep this offer valid till 24th of September, which is 4 days past the final deadline. And this price will be valid for 21 and 22, which means you enroll now and you can participate at your convenience between now and end of next year. Isn't that wonderful, guys? Which means in between, in 3 months' time, 3.5 months' time, the price is going to go back to $1,750, but you get registered in our books with $1,200 if you're coming as a group, and this price remains valid from today till the end of next year. So Shubho, this is something special that Sathiyenthra should, take to the audience. That
thank you very much.
Anyone who joins by 24th September will be able to avail this $1,200 price for any batches that takes place between September 2021 and December 2022.
Wow,
and as the price is going up from 1st of January, everyone should just grab this offer.
Great. Well,
If you wish to take the note in terms of contact, I'm sure Success somehow had contacted you. You can take a screen capture for this for the contact number and the email. Over to you, Shubha. I'm sure the audience is excited and they'll all grab this order and offer and share this with their friends, colleagues, and office. Yeah. Thank you, Shubha.
So more than the audience, I am excited. I had no idea about the offer. Thank you very much, Ejaz, for that wonderful offer. And
we want everyone to benefit, Shubha, because ISCEA works with the philosophy of the kind of things that you have for Success as well. It's more about creating resource than making money. Making money happens, and this is the leadership organization across the world. Yeah.
So we have done something very special as well. So if you have a HNB credit card, you can pay through the HNB credit card, and your payment becomes, I think, around 10,000 plus rupees per month. This offer, if you're paying by yourself from your own credit card, so there will be 24 months payment plan, so which becomes 10,000 plus somewhere around. So please contact us. This would be even because our intention. Success and the intention also, we want to make an impact and create more and more supply chain professionals in Sri Lanka so that we can help them to become a better version of themselves. So that's the mission we're in. So that's why and Success.
Also, they can just pay 10,000 rupees a month and for 24 months, is it?
Yes, 10,000. We are still doing the calculation. Little over 10,000 rupees a month, basically.
Because of the dollar devaluation.
It's a zero interest payment. 20. So sorry, I just got the price, 11,000 rupees a month. 24 months payment plan. It will be credit card. So we are working with them. Recently, a few of our students also, they got together and they utilized, and we actually helped them to get the credit card as well. So that's the offer from our end as well. Thank you very much, Ejaz, for your offer. And so with that, we are at the end. So how many of you are excited to see the offer? If you're excited, type in I on your chat box. I'm a person who loves interacting. So tell me if you're excited to know the offer. Great. Okay, great. Thank you, Tilina. Thank you, Jeevan. Thank you, Hillary. Thank you so much. So thank you for being here, and I'm sure this will definitely help when you take action. It will definitely take your life to the next level. Thank you so much, and
from my side also, Shubho,
there is a question.
All to join CSCM and join the elite group of supply chain professionals worldwide. I look forward to seeing many of you. Myself and Mr. Sathi would also actually look forward to seeing you at the CSCM program. Yeah, what is the question?
So there is a question. So Danushka is asking, hi, is this offer applicable only who's attended to this webinar or who are attended this today?
Excellent. I think it's a very important question. I see, but let me repeat, Danushka. It's applicable for anyone in Sri Lanka, but provided this comes within the 24th of September.
24th of September.
Yeah.
And that will be valid till 2022.
Yes. They can register now and come for a later batch.
Right. Because January, the price will go up to 1,700.
Yeah, 1,750.
Great. So any other question related to price or related to anything related to CSCM, please go ahead and ask. Okay. Great. So I guess that's the wrap. Thank you very much, everybody, for being here. Success Zante started this journey 2 years back, and I am so grateful along with my team that both of you have contributed so much. This is not just CSCM is not just a certificate. It's a lifestyle impact. It impacts your lifestyle. It changes your life. It definitely makes you a better version of your life. So
absolutely.
What we're providing is making people's life value by adding value, taking their life to the next level. Really appreciate for your contribution, and thank you so much. Thank you, Sathi, and thank you, Ejazur.
Thank you.
Life will never be here. Life will never be the same. Time is getting cold. What is going on? What is on your mind? Are your feelings gone? Need to see it clear. Where do we go? Why are you doing things? All the things you do. Life will never be the same. Life is changing. Life will never be the same. Life is changing. In the name of love, you should draw the line. Got to feel secure that you're still mine. Life will never be the same. Life is changing. Life will never be the same. Life is changing. Everybody needs somebody to love, Everybody needs.
The most profitable companies in the world have learned to use their supply chains to keep goods and services flowing into the marketplace. But supply chain processes are only as good as the people who keep them running. Supply chain employment opportunities are constantly being created, and ISCEA certified professionals are getting the best paid jobs. If you wish to become a sound supply chain professional and gain real-world experience and knowledge, then ISCEA is your one-stop source for supply chain education, certification, and recognition. ISCEA is the International Supply Chain Education Alliance. We were the first organization certifying supply chain professionals around the globe, and we remain the worldwide authoritative resource for supply chain career validation, with thousands of certificate holders commanding top-tier salaries. Our certification programs are aligned with best practices and industry-proven standards. They bring together academic research advances and innovative industry trends, validating that you have the knowledge used by top companies to remain competitive in an ever-changing business environment. For your company, that translates into significant cost reductions, faster revenue growth, and a collaborative teamwork environment. For your career, it means exceeding everyone's expectations and taking control of your future. So, what are you waiting for? Stand out from the crowd and take your career to the next level with an ISCEA internationally recognized supply chain certification.